Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm Spiritual Coach Lisa Hobb. It is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new, please be sure to check out my website at lisahobb.com for all about my upcoming events, all about my services, all about me. And also, I'm on Facebook under Lisa M. Hobb, Spiritual Coach and Medium. Thank you so much for those of you who come back week after week. I appreciate you so much. I hope everyone is well this week, had a great week, and is ready to start a new one filled with possibilities and probabilities, blessings, and joy. This week's topic: when your life is decided. When it's all lined up. Some people feel that it happens before you're born. That you come perhaps with a work to do, with goals. It's all planned out. It's all set destiny. And you're arriving on this earth just hoping for the best. Well, that's not exactly true. You do come with a blueprint of goals that you would like to work on. You do come with some of your soul group, those souls that you are soulmates with, whether it be whomever your mother is to be, and your father, and your children, your friends, your spouses, the people that challenge you as teachers. That's all decided beforehand. But for the most part, you are a creator of your destiny. You have free will for a reason. And there's a lot of creativity. And there's a lot of room. And that's so important to know. How much power that you do have. But even so, when you arrive on this earth, you are this beautiful baby who is open and still feels a connection to heaven, is open and unlimited and unblocked and only feels love and knows to let everyone know when they're hungry, expects their needs to be met, expects life to go well, is pure. And then the programming starts of your subconscious mind. See, a baby is wide open and doesn't have a cognizant, conscious mind to be able to say, no, I do not accept that. I will block that. Babies don't block anything. Young children don't block anything. They are completely open to programming. So when your life is decided, is the moment that you come here and you pick up the conversations and the feelings of the environment around you. Now, decided, I have to admit, is a bit of clickbait. Because the wonderful thing is that even though programming begins to happen for you the moment you arrive, today you have the power to change that programming. You can change it at any time. Your life is not decided by what happened to you when you were born, when you were 2, when you were 5. It is decided by you every day through what you allow in your thoughts, in your beliefs, in your perceptions, but also in the other choices that you make. So let's go back again to when that life is decided. Because why it's decided when you're young. And most trauma happens for us. Most programming is set in for us by 7 years old. Again, though, it can be reversed. It can be healed. But why is life decided then for most of us? Because most of us don't realize that each day that you are living, each choice that you are making, things that you think, things that you say, were programmed into you before 7 years old. And some after that. And you're walking around on autopilot, living off of those beliefs that came from perceptions, that came from conversations, that came from events that you made, that made an impression on you, that you formed a perception about, and now it dictates your life. It dictates how much money you make, what you acquire in love, how your health is, all of it. But remember, you're the master of your universe. And if you are cognizant of what you are thinking and saying and where your emotions are, then your life turns at any time. And it's so important for me to tell you about that power, because it's, number one, it's a power of yours, but you have the right to happiness, to joy, to not believe something that isn't true. You have a right for this information. And this information's been known for a very long time. But only some pay attention to it. Most of the time, the some are those who are the wealthiest among us that pay attention to the power of their subconscious mind and their beliefs. You can be equal with them. You are equal to them, as it's seen by heaven, by that source energy. It's just a matter of applying, if you choose, this knowledge to your life. I want to give you a wonderful example. I'll give you simple examples. And sometimes in my previous podcasts, I give these examples. And yes, the material sometimes is the same. But I try to come to it from different places to give you that understanding, because it's so important for you to know. And there was a wonderful story I heard this week, but I decided I don't want to share the story from where I heard it, because it is a peer of mine and it's her story to tell. So I'm going to find a like one. When you were a very small child, let's use someone else in case it doesn't apply to you. Let's say young Susan. She's sitting at a kitchen table. She is 5 or 6 years old. And she's not alone. There are siblings, people visiting. In the center of the kitchen table are cookies. And there are beverages on the table as well, such as milk or juice. And 6-year-old little Susan only knows that those cookies taste good. She's tasted them before, and they melt in her mouth. And everyone around the table is eating the cookies and enjoying them. But what little Susan doesn't realize is that there's an adult, a family member, that's about to enter the room. And that family member spent their life hearing about how they needed to lose weight, that they were too heavy, that they needed to be fit. And that made them feel that they weren't good enough, that there was something wrong with them. And because they so love little Susan, they don't want little Susan to have that same fate. So they walk into the room and they see little Susan eating the cookies. And they've already made a decision that because of little Susan's body, that is curvier than other children around the table, that little Susan probably shouldn't have that cookie. Take the cookies away from little Susan. Now little Susan has been given a perception. When she heard, "Take the cookies away," with no explanation as to why she couldn't have the cookies, 6-year-old little Susan immediately felt, there's something wrong with me. There's something I don't deserve. I'm not enough. I don't deserve these cookies. Perhaps this was not the first time that an adult took food away from little Susan. She shouldn't have food like others. She is not pretty enough. Her body isn't the right size. There are so many perceptions that can come from this one moment, but ultimately, it always comes down to, I am not enough. So what happens now? We find little Susan at 12 years old wanting to be part of her school play. But she hears in her head, I'm not good enough. At 18, she wants to apply to a certain college. She hears in her mind, I'm not good enough. At 25, she enters a romantic relationship with someone who treats her like she's not good enough. Or she picks someone that isn't good enough for her because she feels that's all she can get. At 40, she feels insecure about wealth. Because of that moment and others like it, she doesn't feel she's good enough to be wealthy. She just wants to be loved. These moments go on and on and on through Susan's life. Let's use another one pertaining to wealth. When she's in her mother's womb, she feels the stress and the strain of finances a little, sure. But when she comes out and she's 2 years old, little Susan hears her parents fighting in another room about not being able to afford the house payment. Perhaps at 7 years old, she hears them talking about dad just lost a job. She goes to church at 9 years old. And it's really sinking in that money is the root of all evil. And good people aren't greedy. And they give away and they help people. So she goes through her life. And she remembers that life doesn't provide enough. That good people shouldn't want to be wealthy. These programming paradigms, they get locked inside Susan's subconscious. And she naturally lives her life according to them. She stays in jobs that she doesn't like because she remembers the insecurity of someone she loved not being with one. She thinks there's not enough in the universe. So she worries and she focuses on fear of the possible lack of funds. So she never becomes a millionaire or has financial freedom. Because she's always expecting lack and not abundance. Now, health. Health works a couple of different ways. Health, most of the time, probably all of the time, has to do with stored emotions. Little Susan heard her parents fighting and felt fear, insecurity, sadness, stored it. Perhaps another little Susan was verbally, emotionally abused as a child, constantly, in a much more grave way than just taking a cookie away. And instead of lashing out herself or expressing how it made her feel, she stored it. She stored the anger, the rage, the feeling of not being lovable. And then it comes out in Health Matters. It's not her fault. Children don't understand. Adults as well. What you store affects your body. You've got to let it out in a healthy way. It gives an earthquake to the body when we store. But we're often taught you have to be a good person, you have to behave yourself. You have to be nice and kind, and yes, you have to be kind. So we think being kind, behaving, means storing our anger and our rage and our unforgiveness. And then it comes out in an organ that gets a malignancy, or in a stroke, or in a heart attack. Because our bodies can't stand it. Our bodies weren't meant to store. Now here's what you can do to change all of this. Notice your limitations. The ones that you don't want. Because you're here for happiness and joy on your own terms. And what is happiness and freedom to another may be a different thing to you. So let's go back to little Susan and that cookie perception. Without reliving that moment at the table or any of the other moments that made her feel not enough, not lovable. You don't have to go back to the cinematic color of those moments. Unless you feel that you can. There are hypnosis techniques. I do one called rapid transformational therapy that brings you back there to look at it with all its emotions and full color. And then we set about reframing. But if working with yourself, just go back to how it made you feel. Just the emotion. And then I want to suggest that you see your little self standing apart from you. Most of us know what our little self looked like. I had dark curly hair. Look at that child lovingly. And then, once you've allowed yourself to feel those emotions, look at her lovingly, and together, or him, and together reframe. Change that perception. Have that dialogue. Be loving towards that little one. Assure them of what you want them to know. It was never about you, you can say to them. It was always about what the other person went through, and they passed it on to you. And you're lovable and perfect and unlimited. Now, if you're effective with your dialogue with little you, and with the love that you're sending, you will feel lighter. You will feel as if you've lost weight. But you can simply as well feel it. And then feel yourself cutting the cord with it or letting it go. Now I'll say to you that those who are the freest among us do work like this every day. They use hypnosis, they use freedom techniques such as tapping. There's a wonderful method, the Sedona method. There is a method called Hoop Pano. It's a Hawaiian ritual method. And please forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. There are so many tools out there to help you. There's a technique I'm about to learn and get certified in. There's also a spontaneous healing technique. It's just another method that complements what I already am able to do with rapid transformational therapy. So why is it so important to heal again? Because the freer you feel, the happier you will be, and everything you could possibly want is yours. No matter, again, how you define it. I am here to serve, and I want to be in the best position to serve. But I also want to be the best version of myself. If you just want to be a better version of yourself, if you just want to be happy, if you just want to be healthy, if you just want to be free, you are worth doing this work. Now, as I said, there are those that do it every single day. Any little bit of time to do it is worth it. You will probably see some results. Especially if you're an empath. You are here with heightened energy. You feel more. So the more healing that you do for yourself, the greater your energy is positive towards helping others. You have powerful energy, whether it's positive or negative. You take the negative out of it, and you're making quite an impression on the planet. So it's so important. So yes, the current circumstances of your life were probably decided when you were too young to even perhaps remember, or too young to understand that you were forming beliefs in error because of someone else who was formed beliefs in error. And so, try to see what you can do to heal those perceptions. Those perceptions have been there for so long, you probably think they're correct, that they're right. They have to be based in truth. Perceptions, beliefs. Even if scientifically based, because as we research science, it can change. There was a time people thought the earth was flat. We now know it's round. But most perceptions and beliefs are formed from what was given to you. So they are not based in truth. They are based in feeling. And so they can change. See what you can do about having a wonderful moment in conversation and healing with your little self. It is worth it. You deserve many, many, many blessings. Thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday. Happy May Day. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please like, subscribe, and share if you're on YouTube listening to this. If you're on my Facebook page also, please follow, please like. I am grateful that you've joined me today, and I hope that in some way this was able to help. This was a helpful tool. And I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.